Monday Morning Matters.
Perspectives
From Southeast Asia.
Hi, this is Arlene Tan. You are back again with me on Monday Morning Matters with Dato Lawrence Do, founder of MyPerintis. Early on in this first segment, we discussed on the importance of youth development and introduction of MyPerintis as an organization that focuses on developing the next generation of Malaysia. And in our next segment, we want to discuss further on promoting leadership with integrity. When it comes to leadership, Dr. Lawrence, we see that people have a lot of negative perception on the current Malaysian leadership, regardless whether it's from political leadership to business leadership to even social leadership. There's a lot of problems that people are highlighting that is happening in this country. But do you think personally that leadership has taken a backseat in Malaysia?
I always remember a quote from, I think this quote is pretty common, which until today I'm still learning, which if you want to go fast, you will go alone. But if you want to go in a longer journey, you have to go in a team. I realized that leadership in Malaysia, specifically our leaders that is on the current government, they are generally know what to do. I can say they know what to do. They have plans. To be honest, they have good plans on how to bring Malaysia great. But the issue is often the information shared is very limited, making the public or even the people do not understand exactly what are you trying to do. So when you have such a challenge and when problem occurs, people will think that you are actually not doing anything, or even you are actually not fit to be a leader. So that's what we see currently in the current political situation in Malaysia, for example. So let's say, for example, 1MDB. The vision of 1MDB is noble. It's good. You know, they want to have another arm, investment arm for the country. But little did they share about 1MDB when they first formed 1MDB. You know, what was their project, what was their vision. So
transparency was a big issue back.
Transparency is one, but I think dissemination of the information is not there. And government always do things, be it government or even NGOs, they make a lot of them do things. They say that they consult, but actually I think a lot of people do not understand what actually is it. For example, like I said, GST. You know, generally people will think that it is good for the long term of the country, but everybody has his own personal, who wants to pay more, and everybody don't, even I don't want to pay more, but in the longer run for the country, and looking at the current drop of the oil price, it is lucky that we have GST to sustain the country. But my question is, as a leader, you know that this is very important, but how much have you spent your time in outreaching to the people and outreaching to different society, the classes, to the youths, to the working professionals, to the corporate? How much have you done that? So that is also part of leadership.
Mm-hmm. The increasing uneasiness and unhappiness among the general population, including the younger generation, on the current political leadership. Do you think there's a disconnection in terms of what do the people in the cabinet think and what do the people on the street, what do they think about Malaysia is supposed to be?
Yes, definitely there is a very big gap, and there's a big disconnection between the leaders in the parliament or even the cabinet together with this among the citizens of Malaysia. Because what I even personally experienced from the way that they put up their press statements or even their thoughts is something sometimes not acceptable among the general public. So the comments that they give, they think that the people should already know a particular topic or should already understand why the government is taking this particular decision, making this particular decision, whereas actually a lot of people don't understand. For example, TPPA, one of the program that I've done, the TPPA briefing for the youths as well. How many outreach has been done to the general public? So most of the TPP is briefings are done to the member of parliament, be it the opposition or but do this MPs do this outreach to the people that they are representing, which I don't think so they did. What I can see is a very big fraction, which is the opposition against the TPPA and the government going for TPPA, which is not healthy. So that's what I say.
And it becomes a political sentiment rather than looking at the pros and cons of signing a free trade agreement.
Exactly. So it becomes very unhealthy for the country, because it seems that, again, I shared the same example on the budget 2016. Is it that bad that all oppositions will have to oppose the budget, or is it that good that all the government people, the party, support the budget? So we do not see a very clear, in terms of clear thinking among the member of parliament, that which is actually really important for the country.
Okay. And just to highlight what is happening globally right now, of course, the most highlighted issue is the Panama Papers, which one of the first casualty, it was the Prime Minister of Iceland who was forced to resign on the issue of integrity, as well as not being open about the way he handled his own personal monies. Just to connect that with the case in Malaysia right now, do you think integrity has become somewhat a topic that no politician in Malaysia sort of own it anymore?
Well, I think integrity is not something that is very difficult, or even is very subjective to different people. But what I see, it's not just on the surface, which is on the Panama paper and the Iceland of Prime Minister has resigned. He may have different reasons of why he resigned. I will not speculate. But in Malaysia context per se, what I realize that it is my personal opinion that the Prime Minister or whoever that is implicated in whatever scandal, be it 1MDB or etc., they actually, other than being dependent on the task force that is investigating such cases, the people actually wants to hear it from him, from Prime Minister himself, on what is his explanation over such issues. And we had another talk with 1MDB, with Arukanda, which is he shared that the Prime Minister is just merely a chairman of the advisory board, which has no interference in the decision making of the company, but in a way that the people wants to hear it from the man himself. So yes, we are waiting for the investigation papers to be out, but the people has the timeline is too long. People have lost the trust in you. You could have handled this in a better way when this thing just started way back in 2013 or 14, if I'm not wrong. So integrity is in a way that, taking up the responsibility to step up, not necessarily really to resign, but to step up and say that, no, I'm not involved in this. This is what I've done. And after the explanation, yes, then we will put it to the task force to find out where was the problem that made all this scandal, this problem arise. But we do not see that in Malaysia. We see most of them being very quiet, and even
maybe that has been the modus operandi since back then. And with the birth of social media since the early 2000s until now, I think people demand real-time sort of response to issues. They do not want politicians or people on top to wait and simply be quiet about critical issues.
Exactly. So being responsive at the right time is very important, and this is what I see even the cabinet, the people in the country is still learning that we need to improve more on, crisis communication. How do we communicate such? How do we do that in a single? So we can even see ministers giving different statements and different thoughts about a single topic. So these are the things that they need to really improve. And like I said, integrity is also about not only about investigation papers, but it's also about you taking up the responsibility. Although you are also not in the company, you may not be directly involved in the decision-making process, but it's taking up the responsibility and say that, yes, I'll be responsible for this, and I want to explain why all this happened. So, but I don't see that personally from the people that are implicated in all scandals.
When it comes to the issue of trust, of course, the biggest challenger against the Prime Minister right now is the Citizens' Declaration movement. What do you think of it?
I think I've read through the Citizens' Declaration, which I think there are a few points which is also very important among including the reform of the institutions.
Which is, I think, that is what the essence of what all Malaysians want at the end of the day. It's not just about removing one Prime Minister, I guess in the case of Citizens' Declaration.
Yes.
But I guess in the bigger picture is to reform the weakened institution that has caused from the previous administration.
Well, I think it's two different things over here that is discussed. I think in terms of the Citizens' Declaration itself, I think a majority of the Malaysians will agree to what is stated. But the only challenge is it is linked to different people. It is linked to Tun Dr. Mahathir. It is linked to the opposition. So this Citizens' Declaration seems to be to actually unseat the government, which is actually, I think it is not really related. But as because of the people that started it, the people that is championing it now, so it is seemed that we want to overthrow the democracy in Malaysia. But actually, if you read the Citizens' Declaration, I think that is generally what the people want as well.
Talking about leadership with integrity, what are the voices out there for Malaysian youth when they aspire for a leadership that they can look up to? Definitely,
I can say this is 100%. Everybody, all the youths, want these leaders of the country to be accountable, to be trustworthy, to have integrity. So definitely, but my question is, what are they doing, to promote that? It is not just about saying or even become keyboard warriors on Facebook, saying that our leaders are. Maybe you say certain leaders have no integrity, this is a corrupted leader, but what have you done? So my second part of this message is, yes, if you know that there is something wrong in this institution or in whatever that is in the country, you should stand up. Are you even a registered voter? That is my question. So if so, what else that you think that you can contribute in terms of having a more environment for this leaders to have integrity?
We will take another break. This is the end of our second segment. We will continue with the third segment where we discuss how can we make Malaysia great again.
You're now listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing.